Hey, recently I heard some noise about people wanting Sue Bird as the commissioner. And while I thought that was kind of a bad idea, I understood it, but just didn't agree with it. And this came after the comments that she made on the physicality in the league. And it was my thoughts, incorrect, by the way. I thought players were saying this. This was a fan thing. This started with the fans. Here's the original article. This was on the 29th, right? So this was just a couple days ago. Sue Bird should replace Kathy Engelbert as commissioner. Fans react. The players didn't do this. The fans did this. The fans started this, right? Fans react candidly to WNBA legends' affirmative remark on physicality. Now, this was, I guess somebody had asked her a question about the physical play. She was on the Bird's Eye podcast, and somebody brought it up, opened up about the criticism of the physicality in the WNBA. And really, when they criticize it, they want to criticize it like, why is everybody coming at Caitlin Clark? That's what it at least seems like to me. I just think that they should play physical with everybody. Does it seem like that Caitlin Clark is getting a little extra English? Yes, but that's what happens when you're the number one player of the game. So I understand that, and I accept that as long as you within the lines on the court. The whole situation with Marina Mabrey, that's an anomaly because she should have got kicked out of the game for that. But most of the time, that's good hard play. What J.C. Sheldon was doing, I thought that was fine. J.C. Sheldon was giving her physical defense. In my opinion, I don't think she meant to catch her in the eye, but things like that happen all the time. Marina Mabrey, that was out of bounds. Sophie Cunningham, that was out of bounds in retaliation. So all of that stuff goes back to the refs, which Sue Bird says in her quotes. Yes, this is a physical league. Like, yeah, it's a grown woman's league. Yeah, you got to be ready for it. And the only reason why I want to bring that up is because while it's true that we have defended the physicality, it's not true that it's because we want it to be that way or like it that way. I think for a really long time, something we've talked about, but when the refs do ref the game and allow physicality, we're just kind of playing in it. And of course, what refs allow, you're going to take, and that's really what you're seeing in our game. So, and even with that, I don't necessarily agree with all of it. The league's been physical. I use the example all the time. Go back on YouTube and look at the Detroit shot game, Candace Parker's rookie year. That was a physical game. That was a knockdown, drag out, haymaker swinging fight. And I think the real problem is you just got, for the most part, men in the sports landscape that don't like to see women playing like that. That's just my opinion. I don't feel that way. I grew up with two sisters who were better athletes than me. So I get it. But to the question at hand, should Sue Bird replace Kathy Engelbert as commissioner? Hell to the no. Absolutely not. Everybody's in a love fest with Sue Bird, forgetting the fact that if she becomes the commissioner, she works for the owners. The commissioner works for the owners. Let me say that again so you don't get it twisted. The commissioner works for the owners. So you got to understand what you're dealing with and what the job entails. And if you are a fan of the players in the WNBA, that is not what you want. Me personally, I think Kathy Engelbert is doing a fine job. Can she do things better? Absolutely. You find me another commissioner in another league that's not making mistakes, Roger Goodell included. Everybody does not like Roger Goodell. Just because you see him up there on draft night dapping everybody up doesn't mean the player reps and all the teams like what's going on. Most of the players certainly don't. More games, more injuries, all of that type of stuff. So it's not all, roses and rainbows in the other leagues. The NFL's got issues. The MLB's got issues. NBA's got issues. And every one of those leagues, as successful and as profitable as they are, has gone through some type of work stoppage or strike. And the WNBA doesn't want that. Satu Sabally, Brianna Stewart, you might want to table the comments. Not that you're wrong, But you got to find a way and understand you're not going to get the best deal right off the bat. That's why it's called a negotiation. You got to really go up the bat and fight for what you want, because you are a losing league. You are a non-profitable league. You are leaking money. And you finally got your biggest star trending the whole league in the right direction. And it seems like you treating her like shit. It seems like the optics are. I understand that she is the number one player, so everybody's going to be gunning for her. She's got the number one spot. She's Afro Samurai. She got the number one headband, and everybody's coming after it. That's what comes with professional sports, but there's a dark side to that. And you got to understand, you got to learn how to play the game, and the game ain't fair. So whatever your demands are, I'm going to do another video about the demands of the WNBA. And you know what? It might still be a couple of years before you get $1 million player. It might be a couple of years before you get a $750,000 player. Because the league owes a lot of people a lot of money. You've been in a hole for $20 million for 30 years. The last 2 years, it was $40 million. It jumped up to $40 million last year, and these are just estimates, by the way, but it had to jump up $40 million last year because you had to get the charter flights, because finally you got the recognition and the visibility that you wanted, but it came with all of the other stuff. Now you got paparazzi. Now you got people hopping up in your hotel. Now you got people in your face when you get off the bus. You didn't have that before. Now you need charter flights because it's a security risk walking through airports. And while it's great and everybody says we want it and we should have had this for years, you didn't make enough money to get it. That stuff costs money. So your $20 to $25 million loss now turns into a $40 million loss. But in spite of all of that, everybody's trending in the right direction. So the player reps need to figure out what they want and come up with a reasonable way to attack the owners. The owners own 60% of your league. That's the problem. And the league owes a lot of people a lot of money. You don't be in the whole $20 million for almost 30 years, and then all of a sudden the bright star comes in, and now everybody's just supposed to forget the money that you owe them. It don't work that way. These owners are going to get their money. And as far as Sue Bird being a commissioner, when's the last time Sue Bird talked to a billionaire? Kathy Engelbert is the one that kept the league afloat during and after COVID. And I don't think people appreciate that enough, because everybody was losing their shit during COVID. And there's no reason why the WNBA didn't sink. Kathy Engelbert made sure that didn't happen, or at least she helped. Let me say it like that. Because she's got the ear of Adam Silver and the NBA bigwigs, because they are fitting the bill. They got 60% of your league, and you cannot forget that. So when you got Fee, as much as I love Fee Collier, and you got some of these others talking about all the leverage you have, you got to come with a truth pill. You got to swallow the reality. You do not have leverage. The owners do. The best thing you can do is formulate a game plan to figure out how you can get what you wanted, the better pay, the more roster slots and stuff like that. But you got to come correct. And remember that this is a negotiation, not a demand. Tell me how you feel in the comments. This is going to be a discussion that keeps going on.